Good morning, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Happy, what is it, 3rd of August. Wow, already August, Sally.
I know. I know. It's going to be Christmas before we know it.
I know, right? Right around the corner.
Oh, I know.
I know everyone out there in the Fire and EMS service has been a very busy summer for you all, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Robbie with PSTrax, and I'm joined with Sally Squires. Sally's going to be your presenter today. Sally's our senior account executive here at PSTrax and takes exceptional care of our client base. And I already announced this, but we are on Facebook Live. You're welcome to share that with any crew members, anyone who you think would like to join us on that platform. I'll pass it over to Sally here in just a minute. She'll do a quick introduction. And a healthy chunk of today is kind of understanding, the challenges of where your department is currently at and, how we can help transition you into more of a digital platform, right? So maybe taking you from that old fashioned paper check sheet system and everything that is involved with that transition and, what our system really looks like. So Sally will jump into the demo site today. I believe the agenda is vehicles and stations. We're going to dive into those and see how we can automate your vehicle and station checks. And Sally will also show you kind of the administrative view and how that's going to work on the back end of PSTrax. So last little bit of housekeeping on my side is I'll be taking your questions throughout today's webinar. We do encourage your participation. We love questions. So please drop them if you're on Zoom with us in the Q&A function or the chat function. I'll keep an eye there and then kindly interrupt Sally when we have a good moment to answer that question. And then if you're on Facebook too, I can also take your questions. I'll keep an eye on that as well. So Sally, I'll pass it off to you. Thanks.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Robbie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of time this morning to walk through PSTrax with you. We're really excited to share our platform with you. Those of you who have seen us before, welcome back. Hopefully you'll get a few little nuggets of good information this morning. Those of you who are new to us, welcome. We're excited to share it with you. Like Robbie mentioned, we're going to do things a little bit differently this morning. In the past, usually we just kind of do a high level overview, but I suspect a lot of you have seen that. And so what I really wanted to touch on this morning were some of the common challenges that fire departments are actually running into out there and why they actually come to us and ask for our help and ask to be a part of our team. So I wanted to kind of share that with you this morning, as well as go into the demo site a little bit and kind of touch, like Robbie said, on the vehicle and station modules as well. So bear with us this morning while we do things a little bit differently. I am working on a couple of different screens, so I might look over here from time to time just to bring some information over, just so you know what I'm doing with that. I always like to keep people in the loop with that. Like Robbie mentioned, I am the senior account executive here at PSTrax. I've been here for 4 years now, and this is our passion. This is what we do, being able to help our EMS departments and our fire departments, as well as some out in the private sector as well. Our passion is to be able to help you guys be successful and be compliant and deal with those common challenges that you're working within your department. So I'm going to be very respectful of your time today. Like Robbie said, we know the past year and a half has been kind of crazy for people. If you do have to hop off, if you're called out on a call for any reason, no worries. We are recording this, like Robbie said, and we'll certainly send you a copy of that. So don't worry. Don't feel like you have to, miss out on anything. We'll make sure to get you a copy of anything that you may need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little bit of history on PSTrax, just real quick, so you kind of have an understanding of why we're here and why we do what we do. First of all, we do consider ourselves a family here, and we consider any department or any agency that comes on with us a part of our family. So we take this very seriously. We are working with close to 550 agencies now. I should really update that. And we are worldwide. We started off in, obviously, the United States, Colorado, which is where we're based. We're here in Littleton, Colorado, about 12 miles south of Denver, if any of you are familiar with this area. And then we expanded up into Canada And then we got our first departments down in Australia, and that was a really exciting time for us to build for our friends and family down in Australia. Like I did mention, we do work with all different department types. So there's a misconception out there that we only work with paid departments, and that's not accurate at all. We actually work with several volunteer departments as well as combination. And like I mentioned, we are also in the private sector as well. One of the things that we are commonly that you are commonly faced with are the challenges within the industry, right? You're always asked to do more with less. You need to be able to operate more efficiently. Paper is a very clunky way to manage things in this day and age. A lot of times we hear departments reaching out to us just because they want to be, in the 21st century. And that's what we're here to help you with. No two agencies are the same. We know this. Everybody does everything differently. So, our EMS departments do it different than our fire departments, different than volunteer departments. Everybody has different naming conventions, different internal policies and procedures that you follow. So we want to make sure that we're able to meet those needs. Our platform is completely customizable based on what you may need. Okay, so if you have certain orders that you like things in, if you want to just start small and kind of expand as you grow, we can do it that way. The other thing that we do is we do build this for you. It does completely set us apart from our from other programs that are out there. One of the common challenges that we hear from a lot of departments is they might get involved with another platform, and then what happens with it is because your department or your agency is expected to build it yourselves, it frequently doesn't get built. You guys don't have that kind of time. We know how busy you are, and a lot of times what ends up happening is we frequently hear the term shelfware. So you buy this platform, but then it never gets built. It just sits there and it never gets rolled out or used. That is a huge challenge that we see in a lot of departments. What sets PSTrax apart and why so many people love us is because we build it for you. We have a team here on site that takes all of your information, no matter what format you have it in. If you have it in an Excel spreadsheet, a Word doc, if you have it handwritten somewhere, you send us that information. We then give that to our team, and we have a full team here on site, and that's all they do is they build your platform for you from the ground up. We continuously work with you as we're building this platform for you. We keep working with you, asking you questions, fine-tuning it. And then when it's built, we show it to you, and we sit down with you virtually, of course, during the pandemic. We sit down with you and we show you what we built for you, right? And then we get your feedback, and we make some tweaks, we make some changes along the way as it's needed. And then once it's all set, then what we do is we train you on your platform. We do a train the trainer meeting, and we sit down with whoever those admin people are going to be. And we sit down and we say, how does this look? This is what we're going to train you on. And then we roll it out to your crews. So there's a lot that PSTrax does. It's not just about having, a platform that takes you digital. It's also about making sure that you have it built the way you want it built, that you have the training and support that you need, and then it actually gets rolled out. So that's why the departments that come to us choose to come to us, is especially for that support that you get. So what I want to do here real quick, one other slide here I'm going to show you, and then we'll go into the demo site. I'm going to address some of the most common challenges that departments come to us with. But as you can see here, we are an all-in-one where we're going to manage. There's 7 different modules within the system. So you've got your vehicles and stations, which are the 2 we're going to focus on. You've got PPE, SCBA, critical assets, controlled substances, and our new inventory module. So all 7 of these modules can be purchased separately. You do not have to do all of them. I always encourage departments, when you're looking at this, pick from what your highest need is. So if vehicles are your biggest need, start there. If controlled substances is where you need to be DEA compliant, and you've run into some issues there, and you want our platform to help with that, start there. We talked about it being custom built. It is built for crews. So when we developed this platform, it's not something that we just kind of came up with. We took feedback from other departments and we built this based on what you guys need. Everything that you see within the system has come from feedback and information from departments that we work with. So it's very user-friendly for your crews and your staff. All documentation is easy for reporting and there are powerful dashboards. You're able to track issues through our alert feature, which we'll look at here. You're able to use any device. PSTrax is a cloud-based platform. All right, this is not an app. So basically what that means is you can have as many users using this as you need to, as well as you're not limited to the amount of people doing checks at the same time. So you can have multiple users out on one rig at the same time doing their checks. And that is a common challenge that we hear as well, where people are concerned that they need more than one person out there being able to do those checks. And PSTrax is able to do that, being a cloud-based system. Another challenge that people run into is they want to be able to have the ability to have it be a barcode scanning capabilities. Our platform does support barcodes and QR codes. And you do own your own data. So if in the future, for any reason, you can't stay with us, that you can always take your information. That data belongs to you. We're not going to just take that away and then you're not going to have any access to that. So let me do this. Let me bring our demo site over here real quick and blow this up so that you can see this. And again, the platform is going to fit any device you're using. So whether it's an iPhone or a Toughbook or a tablet, it's going to fit those devices nicely. I'm just blowing it up so you can see what it's going to look like here. And some of the common challenges that I'm going to touch on here that we hear a lot about, and you guys are probably really familiar with this, is we hear a lot about issues with pencil whipping, right? On paper, super easy to pencil whip. They don't even have to check things. PSTrax can help with that. We also hear a lot about limited, admin being able to see what's going on department-wide because they don't have that access, or not being able to pull reports easily, right? I mean, if all of a sudden you come in and God forbid there's a litigation issue and somebody comes in, or you're trying to go through your ISO and bring that up. We just had a department reach out to us saying, I couldn't find paperwork from last year. It was in a box somewhere and I couldn't find that information. PSTrax can help with that as well, because one of the things that our platform does is it's easily available to be able to pull those reports as you need them. Also, we hear a lot about misplaced or broken equipment. And this happens a lot, right? Where, something might be missing. Let's say an axe is missing from one of the compartments and somebody takes a sticky note and says axe is missing, and they stick it on your computer. And if you're like me, at one point that fell off your computer at some time, you didn't know that axe was missing, and a month down the road you're running into a situation where that is something that's critical and is needed and it's lost, but you didn't know about it. Or you're out of something, God forbid, coffee. We'll use that as an example, and nobody notified you, and the next day you're in a coffee emergency. So all of these different common challenges that we hear about are really important and critical. I make light of the coffee thing, but I've heard other, departments say, before they even do any of their checks in the morning, coffee is the first thing there. So we want to make sure you guys have your needs met for those things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the things that PSTrax can do to help with these challenges that you all are being faced with on a daily basis. We're going to go ahead and sign into the platform here. Everybody has a unique username and password. So everything that I'm doing now from this moment forward is going to be tied to my name. So any checks that I do within the system, any alerts that I set, any notes that I make are now going to be linked to me. Let me familiarize you with the screen here real quick so you can move a couple of things off of this. There we go. So you can know what you're looking at here. Again, this is built for your crews. Everything in here that you see, so the schedule of items that are due right over here, this is all made so that it's really easy for crews to go in, do their checks, set alerts, and move on for the day. We know this is another common challenge that we hear. how clunky some other platforms are. And if it's clunky, if it's cumbersome or confusing in any way, you're not going to have that buy-in. You're not going to have that compliance. Another really common challenge that we hear is people being non-compliant, and the accountability then goes down. And that's a huge thing that PSTrax helps with, is accountability and compliance. So here what you're going to see is you're going to see the schedule of items that are due for the day. In the middle here are the alerts. This is, I say this over and over, those of you who've heard me say this in the past, this is the backbone of our platform. This is what keeps everybody on the same page. This is what's going to replace those sticky notes or those redundant emails that you're getting over and over and over. And if you're like me, sometimes you see more than one email on something and you're like, I can't think about that right now. I'm not going to look at that right now. This is what the alert portion does. And then here's our journal. Look at this as your virtual whiteboard. So if you've got like a whiteboard somewhere that you make notes on in the station, and you know, this is basically going to replace that. This is where you're going to put pass on reports, trainings, emergency calls, a couple of other things that you can see here, general notices. Maybe you want a safety alert or station tours. And again, this is completely customizable, so you can name these whatever you want, but this is where you're going to make those notes. Your post can go on here. You can add attachments to this as well. You can make it department-wide or station specific, and you can also leave it on here indefinitely until somebody closes it off, so that people can see what's going on. This is just another really fantastic way of keeping those lines of communication open. We know how busy you are. It's really nice to have this up there just so people can take a quick glimpse at what's going on. So what I'm going to do, we're just going to focus, like I said, we mentioned all the different modules, and I have all of the modules represented here on our demo site, because when we're doing demos, we just go by what people want to see. So we've got our vehicle and station module, we've got our PPE, SCBA, assets, inventory, controlled substances. Those are all the different modules that we have. Today, we're just going to focus on the vehicle and station module to kind of show you some of the ways to deal with those common challenges that you might be dealing with in your department. And what I'm going to start with, I'm going to start on the front end. So I'm just going to show you what it would look like for a crew member to do some checks, set an alert, and move on. So you can see how seamless it is and how easy it is. All right. So let's go ahead and we'll work on engine one here. And I'm going to go into the vehicle checks that are due. As a user, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to click on those items that are due. With PSTrax, your crew or your staff is never going to have to guess what's due for the day. Because we're so customizable, what you do when you send us your information is you tell us what you want done daily, weekly, monthly, every third Tuesday, what have you. And then we build it for you that way. So today, as a user, I know as I'm going in, I've got some daily checks that are due. I've got some weekly checks that are due. Here's some monthly inventory that I need to check. And then I'm done for the day. So I'm going to go through here and I'm going to do a few checks, a couple things to point out. Anywhere that you see a paper clip, that means an attachment is there. Anywhere you see a pencil, that means you can make your drop down and put some notes in there. Anywhere that you see this little eyeball icon, this is now going to show you the most recent task history. So the most recent checks that were done. So you can look back a little bit in the past to see what was done there. I wanted to see if there's, anywhere you see a red highlighted box, that's a required note. All right. And you can have required notes on anything and everything in the system based on what you think is most important. So if you're going through and you want them to actually put the engine hours in and not just mark that they looked at it, this is now going to be a required note. They're going to have to type in those engine hours, because if they don't, they try to set this, do these checks and log their checks, it's going to give them a hard stop and make them go back and fill that in. So let's do this together. We're just going to go through and we're going to do a few checks here. And let's say we're looking here and we see a torn seatbelt. So if it's green, that means it's looking good. But if we have an issue, we're going to set this alert. It's going to give me a little drop down, so I can just put my note in here and we'll say torn seatbelt. And now I'm going to log these items. It's going to take me to a confirmation screen just to verify that everything that I checked is what I wanted to check. It is. Now, we've got the ones that are marked fine, but we also have the alert that we've set. Now, since we've set an alert, now when I log these tasks, it's going to take me to another confirmation screen. All right. This is going to be where I want you to pay attention to this. Your category is going to be the identifying factor of who your alert recipients are. Okay, here's one of those common challenges: not knowing what's going on, right? Not knowing what's happening within your department or your agency. This is going to help solve that issue, because this category right here, vehicle maintenance, these people have now been assigned to handle anything within that category in this alert. So you can see you've got like your virtual maintenance shop down here. Maybe there's a vehicle warranty vendor that you want to send something off to. These people now, when this alert is set, they're either going to get a text or an email or both, notifying them immediately of what this problem is. So if I change the category from vehicle maintenance to say hazmat, now you can see right down here, my alert recipients have changed. All right. And you can have as many or as few people down here as you want based on each individual category. So let me go back up here and we'll change it back to vehicle maintenance. Here's our notes. I can put additional comments in here if I want. I can mark this routine or urgent. I can add a picture. Everybody loves this feature. I can go in now, use your imagination, where my desktop here, but I can go in and I can add a picture of the problem right here. And this functionality, it functions exactly the same way as adding a picture to, a text or an email. You can do it the same way right here. So I've gone ahead and I've attached that picture. Again, one of the common challenges that we see is sometimes the information that's being shared as a problem is hard to maybe understand, or it's just too much to type out. So sometimes just adding this picture just makes it that much easier for you to understand what the issue really is. We'll go ahead and set this alert. And then what I want you to see is, as I'm coming in, not only are we seeing that open alert right here in real time, but also back on the home screen as I'm walking into the bay, let's say for the day, and I take a peek over at engine one and I see a torn seatbelt there, I can also look right here and see that somebody has already identified this. I can click on the little paper clip here to see, that's exactly what I'm seeing. I now know that I don't need to alert again because it's already being handled. Somebody has already handled it. As a crew member, as a member of your staff, I am now done. I have done everything I needed to do. I've done my checks, set an alert, I've made some notes. I can be done for the day. That's as simple as it is for the front end user, okay? And that's why we say, some of those other clunky back end, programs that you may see might be a little confusing. They're just not as seamless. That's all your crew has to deal with. All right. Now, let's say I'm one of the people that got this alert, though. All right. I'm now one of the people in the maintenance shop that got this alert. I can go right here and I can add a comment because I got that text on my phone, or I got that email in my inbox, and I can say, thanks, pull out of service. Maybe I've started an invoice or something that I want to scan in here, or maybe I know where I'm going to order that seatbelt from, and I want to attach that link here so that in the future we don't have to look that information up again. We can just find it right here. We're not going to close the alert yet because it hasn't been resolved, and here we have the opportunity to send notification to that same group of people or not. The reason we implemented this portion is because another one of those challenges that you all face is not knowing when something's been taken care of. This is going to eliminate that problem, because now what I'm doing is I'm keeping this list of people in the loop. They know exactly what's going to happen, and they're going to follow this train of thought, the progress of this particular issue. They're going to follow this, be able to see that progress is being made instead of just sitting there. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then what you're going to see in real time is there's my response. All right. So now we're seeing progress is being made now. And this alert feature that you're seeing is applicable to every single module. This works the same for every single module. This is not just on the vehicle and station module that we're looking at right now. This is the same across the board. So let's say now we've got that part in, we've fixed it. Let's go ahead and close this alert off. We're going to go right in here. I'm going to edit this. Now, the way we see most departments do this, is not just everybody's allowed to close off an alert. Usually we see either, somebody in an admin role, maybe the person that was the original person that set the alert, they're the only ones allowed to close it. Again, this is up to you. We ask you to follow your internal policies and procedures, and then we'll set up who's allowed to close those. So we can go in here. Here's all of our information. Here's my note. Here was my response. Here's the reason we're closing it off. So we'll just say it's fixed. Here, maybe we've got a receipt at this point that we want to scan in. Maybe this is a before and after picture that we want to attach in here. Up to you, but you can add another attachment. Here we can also put our cost in here. So now the system, I don't know how much it costs to replace a seatbelt, probably more than that, but we'll pretend. Now the system is going to track any costs associated with the maintenance of this vehicle. Another challenge that we hear about all the time. How much am I spending? How much was this coming in? How much are we spending on it now? Is this worth keeping in service anymore? Maybe it's time to retire this because we're spending too much money on it. Or maybe it's time to, send this off to a budget, situation, have them take a look at it and let us know, how much are we allowed to continue to spend? This is a great feature to help with that challenge that you're having. We're going to close this. Do I want to send notifications to that same group of people? I sure do. I'm going to save that just for that accountability and compliance. There we go. And now you'll see that that seatbelt alert that we just had there has now been closed off. Another common challenge that we find is people saying, I need a report on things, and I don't have time to go into that filing cabinet and go through all that paperwork and pull that report. Or honestly, I've been trying to pull this report on another system and I can't get it pulled off. And now I've tried to call somebody. They haven't called me back. We hear it daily. So I'm going to show you how easy it is to pull a report either on your own, or you can call us and ask for that help. We do, that's the other thing that PSTrax offers, is unlimited support, all right, throughout the whole duration you're with us. There are never any additional fees for that. There's never a time limit on how often, how many times you can reach out to us. I heard a department tell me the other day that they had to reach out to another platform, but they had used all their time up. So now it was going to be $100 an hour for them to just talk to somebody. It's not how PSTrax does that. We are very, very solid on the support that you're going to get. You can even check that out with your neighboring departments that might be using us. Ask them how they get their support through us. When they call in, when they text, when they email, they're going to get it. They're going to get either myself or Nathan or Corey, who's on that team as well. And you're gonna get your needs met ASAP. So let's show you how to pull that report though that we were talking about. So somebody comes in and says, I need to know what you're spending on engine 1 and the alerts that have been set. You can go right in here. You can go into your alert archive. We can find what station we're pulling from, what vehicle. We can narrow it down. So we'll just say engine 1. We can look it up by category if we want. We can even look it up by who posted those alerts if we want. Here's where we'll select our date range. Maybe they just want to see the last couple months. And we'll view these search results. And now what the system is doing is it's putting together that report that you need, that very critical report that's going to show you any alerts that were set on this vehicle between June 1st and today's date. When it pulls that report for you, it's going to show you who set those alerts, when they were set, the date and the time that they were set, when they were addressed, so any notes that were updated, when they were closed off and put into the archives. It's also going to show you any pictures that were attached to those alerts. Give this just a second. It was a little bit of a large report to pull there. So right down here now, you can see, like I was saying, the date and the time that it was opened. A lot of accountability here. Who opened it, who closed it, and when it was closed. The description, the cost. Here's our report that we can run on our cost report if we want to. The priority of it, when it was updated, any pictures attached. And if we wanted to just take a quick snapshot of the details of this June 3rd alert right here, we could go into the details. And what the system will do is it'll just give us a quick snapshot there so we can see, this was looks like we had an engine leak. Here's a picture of that. There's the cost. And here are all the people that were made aware of it. But now let's say somebody says, you know what? I just need to see any of the alerts on tires. If we go into the search bar and type in tires, Now you can see that the system customizes this even further to show us any alerts that had anything to do with tires. And now if they're like, perfect, that's what I needed to see, I need a printout of that. We can go right up here. We can drop it into an Excel or a PDF, print that off. Let's pull that up so you can see what that looks like. There you go. Print this off, hand this to whoever's requesting it, and there's your report. Just like that. I didn't have to go through any filing cabinets, any log books, anything like that. It was right there for me to pull up. All right. So that's just kind of an idea of the functionality of the vehicle module. Also the station module, let me go down here and we'll just look at that real quick since that was something we were going to talk about. Within the station module, I really like this module and our departments like this because it's extremely robust. There's a lot that you can track within the station module. We see things like station chores being tracked. We see basic EMS supplies being tracked through here. We see the building itself. A lot of our departments down in Texas actually will track the entire building itself just based on the storms they get down there with the hail damage that they experience. So they'll track things like the maintenance of their roof, right? And if they've had a hailstorm, they'll set an alert, they'll take a picture, they can send that off to their insurance company. Again, easy enough to send off to them. And it's all in a nice, neat little package addressing some of those challenges that you guys have. But you can see here, we've got station supplies tracked in here. You can track minimum and maximum quantities through this. Here's some monthly checks, you know, station first aid kit is maintained. Some of the things that people forget to look at on a daily or monthly basis, you can now put in here. This will come up on the day that it's due. Staff and crew will know what they need to do. They'll go through, they'll check their apparatus room, their furnace area. And again, these are just examples. This is strictly just an example of some of the most popular things that we see across the board. But again, you can certainly go in and say, you know, well, we definitely need to be tracking this a little bit better. It would be nice if we, you know, made sure that the plumbing was functioning properly or what have you. And let me point this out too. If you don't have something in place, all right, another challenge that we hear, we meet with a lot of departments who don't have anything that they're checking. And maybe this is you. Maybe you don't even check this stuff. And that's why you're reaching out or you're watching this today, is because you want a better way to do things, or you just want some guidance. I can tell you right now that our team will help you. We can show you how other departments are doing it and some of the best practices that they're following. And if you like what they're doing, or even if you like the way our demo site is set up, we can mirror that for you. We're not here to reinvent the wheel for you. We want to make sure that we're meeting those common challenges that you're running into on a daily basis. And we want to be able to help you with that. So if you don't have a plan in place, maybe, and you're not really sure, you're like, this looks great, but we don't even know where to begin. You are not alone at all. That's what we're here for. We really want to help you be successful with that. So if you need help with anything like that, and you just want to chat with me or Robbie or somebody else on our team, and you just want some ideas, set some time up with us. We love to do that and walk you through that. I want to take a deep breath here and take a drink of water. Robbie, did we get any questions or anything on anything that I've gone over so far?
We had a question come in about, thank you, Sally. I'll give you a quick moment here. But you
No worries.
answered it. It was regarding, you know, just kind of, and maybe you can elaborate on this just a little bit about closing alerts, and basically if anybody can close alerts, right? And you had touched on it a little bit, that basically admin controls. Maybe if you want to explain how we can, I know we can essentially custom configure that.
Absolutely.
We'll have those controls.
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me do this then. Let me go into the admin side of things real quick, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like. So one of the things you'll do when we start building this for you, one of the things we'll ask you for is your roster, okay? And within that roster, we're just going to look for names, email addresses, phone numbers. If you have a badge number, anything like that in there that you want us to include, we'll ask you for that information. And then what our team does, and I'll just kind of go into the back end a little bit here so you can see, we'll go into the personnel. And we're just going to go into our user list real quick. So when you send us that information, our team then sits down and we assign everything in here. We put everything in here the way it needs to look. But what this question is referring to, I'm just going to go down here and we'll use Corey as an example here. I'm just going to go into his demographics here real quick so you can see what this looks like and how we set this up based on who's allowed to close off an alert or not, because that's the question. So let me address that first off. So you can see we have all the information in here. Here's how they're going to get the alert. Have they opted to get a text? Have they opted maybe just to get it in an email? Or some people want to get both. We'll set it up that way for you. Here's all his demographic information. But the question here is, how do we know if he's allowed to close off those alerts? Well, when you send us that roster, you let us know who you're going to want to be in those admin positions. Okay. So for example, Corey is set up as an admin right here on the vehicle and station module. That means he's able to edit and close alerts. He's able to manage the vehicle and stations themselves, and he's able to edit the vehicle and station details. Now, this is customizable as well. So let's say you want him to be a user, right? And you don't want him to have access to all those things. We can set that up. But maybe he's a user and you do want him to be able to close off alerts. We can change that and we can give him that functionality to do that. And this is the way it is with all of our modules, not just the vehicle and station module. You know, for our PPE, are they a user? Are we not going to have access at all to that? You know, are they going to be able to close off alerts? Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. Same thing for SCBA and the assets module. The inventory module has a lot of different settings. This one's extremely robust. And there's a lot of different levels of who can do things within there. But it also with controlled substances, we may not want them to have access at all. So with the controlled substance module, you know, some departments purchase this module, but they only want their medics to have access. They don't want just anybody to have access to that. If that's the case, we will give them no access. They're not going to see it when they log in. They're also not going to see it over here in the drop-down menu. But there are different levels of user access in that as well. So the system itself and managing personnel, you know, you may not want them to manage personnel and the journal. You know, this was a really unfortunate reality for us, kind of touching on who's allowed to do what within the system, right? When we first developed the journal and put it on the home screen, we just assumed everybody would be appropriate with the journal. And we learned really quickly and the hard way that that's not accurate. There are some people that were really inappropriate with the journal. So if you have people that you might not want to have access to that, we can certainly shut that down as well if we need to. So that was kind of it was entertaining for a while, but then we figured out what we needed to do to make this work for our departments. Also, while we're in this page real quick, we also have an emergency contact information. This was a huge challenge that people ran into during COVID. We had a lot of people reach out to us and say, you know what, we don't have a way to get a hold of people. We had departments, and we're actually seeing it again right now. I've got 3 departments that I'm closely working with and monitoring based on their COVID situations. We have a couple that actually have people in the ICU again. So the reason this particular portion came about was because we were hearing people say, you know, I can't find the Rolodex that the emergency contact information is in. Or what we were hearing, another challenge we were hearing was, and you might have this happening in your department, like maybe you have somebody in admin and she's there twice a week and nobody can get into her computer to get to the list of emergency contact people. So we had people reaching out to us saying, we need to have this in PSTrax. We need to be able to track this. So this is now in here where you can put your emergency contact information. Frequently, we'll see people putting like their blood type in here, what maybe vaccine they've had, when they had it, so on. Any allergies to drugs or food allergies might need to be listed in here. It's a great place to have that. And then in the future, if you needed to pull a report on that, you could certainly pull a report on the emergency contact information. Did that help answer that question?
Yeah, thanks, Sally. That was a really detailed look at everything. I didn't even know we could run reports on those things. So
Oh, yeah.
I could
Yeah.
run. That's great.
Good, good. I'm glad I could help with that. Any other questions then on this?
That's all I have at this time, Sally.
Okay, excellent,
Yeah, thanks.
excellent. I think at this point, what I want to do is I just want to invite you guys, if you have any further questions on anything, you can clearly see by what we've reviewed today, there's a lot to this platform, and we just barely, touched the surface of it. If you're interested in learning more about it, please let us know. That's what we're here for. We can do a walkthrough with you. If you're currently with us and you're like, whoa, I didn't know the system could do that, because we hear that a lot, call me and let me know what you need to have help with, what you want to see a little bit more on. That's what I'm here for. That's, chances are, if you're sitting here watching today, chances are, and you're a current client, your account belongs to me anyway, so you might as well reach out to me if you need some help with anything. That's what I'm here for. I know Robbie's going to share some information at the end here as far as how to get a hold of us. But at this point, I think I've pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover with you guys today. Just touching on those common challenges that we're seeing as far as the pencil whipping, being able to pull reports, keeping people on the same page, not having it be clunky and confusing in any way, having the customer support that you need, all of these things that we've been hearing over the years, and PSTrax has been doing this for a little over 13 years now. All of these things that we're hearing, that having things be on paper, not being able to find them, that's what we're here for. That's what we want to help with. So I think at this point, Robbie, that's all I wanted to go over today with everybody that was joining us.
Sure, thanks, Sally. And I was just going to add on too, just having full transparency in your department or your agency, and
yes,
really understand what truly is going on, and not being left out of the loop after a month when something's been broken and somebody finally hears about it. So we hear those things all the time, and yeah, we can't stress that enough. This will streamline all of that for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, at this time, Sally, I don't think we have an upcoming event slide, do we?
I don't.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's fine. I was just going to talk about some of the upcoming events we have. So with it being the 3rd of August, and this is kind of an exciting time in the fire industry, this week, FDIC at Indianapolis, we have a team leaving tomorrow. Our team of experts probably should have started with this at the beginning of the webinar, but if you happen to be on the ground, boots on the ground at FDIC in Indianapolis, we would love to see you. Please come stop by. Again, if you're a current client, we definitely want to see you and just kind of understand how the platform has been working for you, anything we can help you with, or if you'd like to learn more about PSTrax, we'd love to see you there too. So I know everyone's excited to try to have some normalcy right now, and get back to the shows as safely as possible, of course. And then second piece is we have in 2 weeks, we're going to dive into our critical asset module and look at hose inspections and managing and tracking any kind of critical assets. So kind of like what Sally said, grant funded equipment, doing cost analysis and tracking all of that.
Yes.
So that is going to be on the 17th, and you can find that at pstrax.com/events, registration link for that too. So then I'll follow up with all attendees. Of course, as Sally mentioned, we're going to have a recording of this webinar if you'd like to share it with anyone on your team. And also I will follow up if you want to look into pricing or quote or anything like that, or even look into a team demo, maybe invite some people in who want to dive into something a little bit different. So Sally, I believe that's about all I have. Thanks for your time and hard work and heavy lifting, walking through everything.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. Anytime you guys need anything, just let me know.
Thanks, everyone. Stay safe out there.
All right. Be safe and healthy, everyone.